Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Monday afternoon / evening edition, and Bitcoin was rather pokey over the weekend. Again, clinging to 26K, dipped a little bit below today. Not much in the way of news either. To be candid, I was scraping to find something to talk about in the crypto big picture portion of my Zoom call. So maybe you guys can help me out with that. For now, let's bounce over to the Bitcoin chart and see what we see. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yes.
Thank you. And the ranges have not changed. I still have the high range here around 30K, the low range around 25. And we've just been putzing around mostly sideways in this 25 to 26 range. See, we're a little bit below 26 today. Let's look at a shorter time frame. We had this dip around noon Pacific time, not quite 1%, about 0.8, 0.9, and then sideways from there. So a little concerned that 26K might become resistance. It's been support for a little bit. We'll have to see how that plays out. All right, thanks. We were talking about the location of my past videos, recordings of these Zoom calls, and Patrick has posted in the chat the link to Crypto CJ's Trading Odyssey, where they're all carefully stored. So you can get them there. All right, so that's
Thank you.
Bitcoin. You're welcome, and thanks to Patrick. Let's see, on Ethereum, pretty similar. We've got the high part of the range around 1850 to 1890, the low part 1630 to about 1650. So we have not been in the higher part of the range for a couple of weeks. And the information I get has gone both ways. If we don't hold hold the support, we might drop down to 20K and maybe 1300 on Ethereum. And we got this too. We got the Fear and Greed Index. You can find this on iCoinPro. We'll get over there in the second half of my Zoom call, but there's a convenient link there. And we're enjoying fear right now on the Fear and Greed Index. So not much going on. Any questions, comments, prognostications regarding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the market overall?
If you look at the Bitcoin weekly, I think the close was $20 different between last week and this week.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. See these spinning tops, we call them. Yeah, they haven't done much at all. So Craig's talking about the last couple of weeks. Hey.
Well, if the money is not going into cryptos, where is it going?
Good question. I did read that, when miners sell the crypto that they've created through the proof of work, that they do so over the counter, and that's not a transaction that's really recorded for the sake of the price. So that's probably something I learned a long time ago but forgot about. So clearly the miners are selling their Bitcoin to, keep their operations afloat, but those aren't the kind of transactions that move the market. We talked before about, institutions, ETFs, which would give, larger investors easier access to crypto. Those have to be approved by the SEC, and that's been punted to, later this year, early next year, because the SEC doesn't really want to deal with crypto any more than they have to, other than to, litigate about it. So don't get me started on that. All right, anything else on the markets overall before we look for some day trades? On the plus side, a tightly ranging market like this, if you're willing to settle for, scalps, 1% move or less, I'm trading different strategies between a 0.25% and a 1% move on the chart. Those are actually doing pretty well. So we'll see how long that plays out. When you get the big moves, those strategy like that can go against you. So we will look at both approaches as we head over to Altcoin Alert. So I am on the altcoin radar setting. I prefer this over the dashboard because I want all the columns. I'm going to refresh, reload, get the most current information. Then I'm going to sort by the AA score. And REQ I looked at last week. It doesn't have very good volume on exchanges I don't trade on anyway. I looked at Filecoin. I didn't like what I saw there. I still have stacks. Didix I like. Audio I like. So I usually want 80 or above on the AA score, but 79.2, 79.1, that's close enough. So let's go ahead and look at stacks since I've got that one handy. Let me get rid of these indicators for the moment. Start with a quick look at the 5-minute chart. And it's mostly going sideways. I'm usually looking for a dip sequence or a pump sequence. You know, it's just super squeezing, less than 1% between the Bollinger Bands. But I want to see something like this, ideally, you know, a big move, you know, closer to 3% between the Bollinger Bands. This is sort of a dip sequence here. This might have been a good entry. You don't have this is a better one actually. Here we have a squeeze and then a bubble and a few dips here. 1, 2, 3. Probably get in right about here. And I get a small win until it goes against me for a while. I may be getting I probably get one more position here at this 2% loss mark. Then I'm going to catch this move and get out with a break even on my first position and a decent profit on my second position. So that's how I evaluate these things when I'm back testing. I don't do much of that on the 5-minute chart, but I want to show you an example of 1, 2, 3 dip. It's not a perfect one, but close enough for our purposes. Okay, so if you don't want to deal with indicators and you just want to set price alerts, we're going to look for support and resistance. I'm seeing some support. Right, let's go with a range actually. Right around here. You can see we have multiple touches here and it bounces back, but we're really close to that already. I mean, the top of this range is 0.454 and we're at 0.455. So I don't really like that as a place to get in. Get rid of that. You might want to go to a longer time frame. It's pretty much the same here. Maybe go down to 0.453, but that's not a great entry either. Yeah, it just hasn't been this low in a while. Hour chart, and now I'm getting beyond where I usually go. So I'm not seeing a good entry on support and resistance. So the better play here might be, you know, the indicators on the 15-minute chart. See if we can find something with divergence. Divergence is a disagreement between the candle action and the indicators. And the one I use is the divergence from any indicators. I talked about this in some detail on Friday's Zoom replay for August 25th, 2023. You might want to check that out. For now, this looks pretty good. These bullish divergences caught this move up. These bearish ones eventually caught this move down. There might have been an additional purchase or two in the process. And then these guys caught this move up. And then these we don't know about yet. You'll probably still be in these trades. Yeah. If you're trading spot and you just want to look at potential long moves, then you can right click on this particular indicator after you download it. choose positive divergence. Once per bar close keeps it on until you turn it off. And I usually use my information source for the name, which is AA score purchase, and click create. Actually, I want to test this first. Was doing some automated stuff earlier. So I'm going to notify an app on my mobile, pop up on my computer. Email is overkill. I don't use that one. And I like this the sound. So that's how I would do that one. Okay, and then if you want to trade it short, if you're trading on leverage, you choose negative. If you want to go both directions, like I usually do, you're going to choose one. You have one alert for negative, one alert for positive. Okay. Let's look at supertrend, which is another indicator I like. But just like it sounds, it trades with a trend. So it usually waits till a trend is established and then the signal goes off. A lot of times that's too late. So especially in this market when there haven't been a lot of good trends. So this one triggers here on late Saturday night. I've got a couple other indicators for confirmation, the RSI and the squeeze momentum. Both of these are confirming. So if I was trading on a Saturday night, it sounds like a pop song. Yeah, there's a move almost to 2%. I'm usually looking for a 1% move at 10x leverage. For trading spot, you probably want to get 2 to 3%, but you can settle for 1% as well and just pile them up. So this sell triggered at 10:45 Sunday morning Pacific time, confirmed by the RSI, but not yet by the squeeze momentum, though it is trending down. It's still in the green. So in that situation, I might wait till I might set an alert, a confirmation alert on the squeeze momentum. Actually, I haven't shown you this in a while. Add alert crossing 0, actually crossing down 0, and just only once on that. And I usually call this confirmation alert. Yeah, so when this dips down here, you would get actually a better entry because the sell would go off here. This is going off here. Actually, a little bit of better. You want a higher entry on a short. So yeah, obviously that makes a nice move down. So that would have worked out pretty well. This one, yeah, I might have gotten out on that one, but it only goes up 1% and then drops again. There's a sell. So we'll probably still be in that trade. It doesn't go off. Supertrend doesn't go off as much as divergence, but it can be a good backup plan, or you can trade both. Where I've had the most success this summer has been with the RSI trades. I'll show you those. What I want is I want the RSI to drop below this 30 and then shoot back up, or go above the 70 and then drop back down. And I'll show you where that happens with my vertical line. So on this, I would get in right about here when my alert goes off. I'll show you how to do an alert in a minute. And I'm probably in this for a little while. Yeah, I'd be out right around here. Take nearly a day, but you know that I'm back testing on a Saturday, which tends to be lower volume anyway. So that's a good trade. Just takes a while. Got kind of a Batman look here. So this one shoots above the 70. Looks like it doesn't break it, and it breaks it right here. So this is a really good entry on this this RSI alert. So probably get in here and it makes a nice move down. I don't have to measure that. And I've started something this weekend, or this week. Actually, I started on Friday, where I've started buying additional positions. I want to make use of this data because you see how this one drops below the 30 and then pops back up, does it again, does about 5 times before it finally shoots up. Well, I'm just adding to my position on this each time it happens. It's risky because if it takes a prolonged drop, then I'm either going to get stuck or stopped out or liquidated. But I did this today on a maker trade and had a really nice result with it. So we'll see if it has any potential. But the scenario would be it dips below the 30, comes back up. So I probably get in. I'm covering that up. Yeah, this green candle would be where that happens. And it does go against me. You know, I probably get one additional position with my usual trading style. And I automate that, and when that system's ready, I'll share it enthusiastically, but it's not ready yet. Anyway, so I get my additional purchase here, and I'm probably out somewhere in this vicinity with the combined win with the 2 positions. But with the additional purchases, I would have gotten in, I would have bought again here, and probably here, and then maybe here, and then one of these would have triggered my auto trade. So I'm going to have like 4 or 5 positions in time to catch this move up. Again, it's a bit risky. I'll keep you guys posted on that. And then finally, we've got this pump over the 70. And it drops, 5:30 this morning Pacific time and makes a nice move down. So all these RSI trades would have been profitable, at least the way I trade. And here's how you do an alert on the RSI. Right click. And if you're trading spot, you're going to want it to cross below or cross up from the 30. You can play around with it. You can back test, see if it needs to go down to 28 or maybe 32 or something in between, but 30 is my go-to. Once per bar close, and we're still on an AA score. And the rest is as you've seen before. To short this, crossing down on the 70, same concept. And if you want to trade both directions, like I like to do, we're going to enter a channel where the top value is 70, bottom value is 30. And then we're good to go on that one. I click create on this. You'll see a rectangle here showing the 70 and the 30 and the name of the alert. Actually, I usually give this alert different sound. I give it the chirpy sound. So that's how I do those. And our goal with this is to have it bounce above the 70 and then drop, and that's when the alert triggers. The alert does not trigger when it goes above the 70. The alert does not trigger when it goes below the 30, but it does trigger when it comes back up. So that tells me it's dipped, and then it's retracing, it's coming back, and that's where I want to get in. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite trades. Okay, any questions on STX? All right, we're going to move a bit faster then through the rest of our coin options. So that was Altcoin Alert's AA score. There are other columns of information to sort here. I just refreshed. Another one is social activity. And I want to match up fire or a thumbs up on spot trading with social activity and trading activity. You can see what these actually mean if you want to hover over them, get the explanation. Social activities like social media, Twitter, that kind of thing. Trading activities, more technicals. So we've got band with fire on both, TRB as well. Band is something I like to trade. It's up almost 7% today. So could be a good one. Let's check it out. And I'm going to turn that alert off because I've got a different one. Band on the run. Let's look at the 5-minute first. And this was just kind of cruising sideways and took a big pump here in the wee hours of the morning, almost 9%. Wow, almost 14%. So something's happening with Band. I didn't hear any news about this, but this looks pretty good. And we've got some potential dip support areas. Right around here at $1.07 would be one area. And again, down here, about $1.02. So if you want to catch that $1.07 area, just do a price alert, right click pretty much anywhere. And this is a social activity sort. And you click create, and then when that triggers, you reevaluate. Okay, do the same thing at 102. But I like indicators better. So let's go to 15-minute. Look at divergence. Now, divergence is, a contrarian approach. It's trying to get us in before the activity actually happens. So that's why you'll see, it's dipping down here, but you're seeing bullish alerts. It's trending up here, so you're seeing bearish alerts. We're trying to catch that, that good entry. And sometimes it's right, sometimes it isn't. And the bullish ones eventually catch this move up. These bearish ones probably aren't as good since we've had the recent pump on this coin. I'm looking to see if I get some small moves that get me out before that happens. Yeah, that goes against me. I'm in an additional position, but I probably get out here, so that's a win. That entry would have been a win. This one doesn't look so good. I'm probably stopped out. Maybe I get 2 additional purchases and then I get out here. It's kind of on the border. That entry would have been really good, and this entry looks good. So an iffy one here, but the rest of these look pretty good. So at least in the recent past, Band looks pretty good on divergence. I showed you how to do alerts already on the last one we did. I don't think I showed you how to do a super trend alert. So you can see I had a bunch of divergence alerts, but I've only got 3 in the same time frame on the super trend, but they all look accurate. So this would have gone off here. RSI confirmed, squeeze momentum did not. Squeeze momentum doesn't confirm till about here. So eventually that's a good trade. And if you hold on a long time, then you catch that big move. So the buy looks pretty good. The short for me would have been good if you're looking for 2% or more, maybe not. And then this buy is obviously really good. So for an alert, right click, add an alert on super trend. For spot, you're gonna want to go with the buy. And this is social activity. That's how you do that one. And if you want to short it, you choose sell. If you want to do both, and that's what I like about this indicator. It has one choice for direction change, and this is the one I use most frequently when I use super trend. Okay, and then let's get a look on the RSI, see how that did. Okay, we got this move. It kind of putzes around sideways. It probably would have been a while before you got out on this one. I don't like back testing on Saturdays, but it's what you have to do if you have a Monday afternoon Zoom call. All right, so I get an additional purchase here around the 2%. You eventually get out probably around here. So I'm in that a little over a day. And there's a couple other, this one might have triggered here. This one would have triggered. So these might have been opportunities to go in with that additional 50% that I was talking about earlier. Here, we get this move down, which we already measured on a short. And this one, that may have triggered, maybe not. We'll say for fun that it did. And obviously that's a great entry for this move up. This shoots up and then drops right about here. That one's probably not good. Yeah, it's gonna, depending on your goals, you might get stopped out on this one. Less than 5% of a move. So I would have gotten 2 additional positions and been out around here somewhere. So actually that one would have worked out okay for me. And that's the last one that triggers. So RSI looks pretty good on this. And we already went over on how to do an alert on that, so I won't do that again. Any questions on band? Okay, well, we'll do one speedy one on Altcoin Alert, and then we'll head over to iCoinPro. So we've done the AA score, social activity. Haven't looked at 1 hour. Yeah, that one's not very good when the market's going mostly sideways. Long-term sentiment is an oldie but goodie. This is where I want to match up sentiment with the elder impulse. It's similar to the social activity trading activity. And I'm not seeing any matches. LPT though, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, we'll look at that one real quick. LPT, we'll skip the 5-minute. We're gonna go straight to the 15. Running a little behind today. Okay, I'd rather see more of a range. This one's doing kind of a tent action. Let's see if these. Nah, this isn't good. Divergence is not looking good on this. I can tell already. Get rid of it. This might be more of a trend. Yeah, the trend's doing really well on this. So you get the sell prints here. It's trending down the RSI, big fat red on the squeeze momentum. And yeah, it's 2% move down. Big move up. Big move down. Pretty good move up. Yeah, almost 3%. And then the sell just triggered, but I'm not sure how that one's going to play out. And then let's look at RSI. That one triggered short. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. That's a pretty good trade there, pretty good entry. And that one crosses the 70, dips back. It's a really good entry, good one down. It doesn't quite cross there. We get this cross. Then we get this nice move up. So RSI is a bit iffy. Of the 3 we looked at, it looks like for LPT, the super trend was the best way to go. Any questions on that one before we head over to iCoinPro? Alrighty then, let's see what this one has for us. iCoinPro, home of the 1, 2, 3 dip. If you're on my Zoom call list, you probably watched their training about the procedure. I use my RSI 15-minute alerts to try to catch those. It's hard to set an alert on a 1, 2, 3 dip, so the closest I've come to it is that approach. So I'm going to look on this RSI SPY option, it has for the 1 hour chart. And if I see something dipping below 30, then that's usually due for recovery. That could be a good spot trade. Let me reload this. I like trading KNC, but the volume has really dropped on this. As has Axie. I like 5 million or more. But when I first started, 1 million was pretty good volume for an altcoin. HBAR is pretty good volume at 10 million. I'm looking at Binance charts. I mean, I don't think any of us are trading on Binance, but they do have pretty good charts. Theta, something I've traded before. Zen, but volume's kind of low. Look at H bar. Went past it. Okay, on the 5-minute, been kind of busy. Seeing some support here right around 554, but that's pretty close to where we are now. So that's not really a good entry. On our 15-minute alerts or indicators, these look okay. This one from Saturday morning did well. This long did, the short eventually would have. So yeah, get an additional purchase up here, then get out there. That's probably enough to make 1 to 2%. Yeah, it's about 1.5% move there. This obviously catches that move down. This one might have been problematic. Maybe not. Get an additional purchase down here, come back up. I'd probably still be in that trade. So divergence, good but not great. Let's look at the super trend. That buy looks good. The sell, eventually, this buy here could be a problem. Yeah. This is the problem with super trend. It looks like it's trending up, then that trend dies, and then craters. So probably still be in that trade. Yeah, depending on which one I'm using, I'm usually stopped out at about 5% loss, 10% on some other approaches I'm using. So not so good on that one, but the rest of them look good. RSI. That's a good move up. Then we get this one moving down. Yeah, that would have been pretty good on a second purchase. That's a good initial entry there. Good entry there. Not a good entry there. Yeah, these aren't so good. So this one's kind of hit and miss. I'm not sure which one's best. So any questions on H bar? All right. So that's the RSI SPY. Another one I like is the Buddy Coin Crawler. And I'm sorting this for average low to SMA. The low is a 24-hour low. The SMA is that red line between the Bollinger Bands you see on my charts. So if there's a high number here, I'm usually looking for, used to be 5% when we had more of a bull market. Now I've dropped down to like 3.5 to 4%. And I've got TRB, YFII, Acro, which is something I've traded on spot before, but it's been a long time. Let's look at Acro, and you can use this nifty feature. Got drop down here, click Trading View, and it'll take you to the 5-minute chart of your most recent layout. So we will look at this as a spot trade. And a big pump here. So in our divergence, we're going to be looking at the green ones. And yeah, good stuff here. A small move is 5%. Yeah, there's a good move there. And this is a good example of, let's say I take this trade. Now, where do I get out? I'm going to look for, price has memory. I'm going to look, this is really what's going to look like at the time this goes off. And I see resistance here at around 1490, and again here at 1514. So I probably choose, say if I take this trade, cherry picking here a little bit. I took this trade here on the bullish divergence. I would look to get out right around here, this 3.5%, and I catch that right here about 7 hours later. 3.5% is a really good day trade. You pile those up, your balance will grow. So that's how I like to choose exits when I'm spot trading, is I look for past resistance points. Sometimes they're not real obvious. Sometimes, there's 2 or 3 to choose from. I tend to choose the middle one, or the one that gets me closest to that 2 to 3% sweet spot. But obviously, had you held on longer, you could have caught this bigger move here. But I like to set my take profits based on the technical indicators, enter that into the exchange, and then go off and do something else. If I sit and watch them, I'll mess with them and make them worse. But you do you, figure out what works best for you. But yeah, I was talking with, I remember somebody earlier about, Murphy's Law of trading is when you lower your take profit, inevitably it goes above that and far beyond. So, but again, if you have a strategy, say, okay, I want 3% based on what I'm seeing on these charts, and you get out, you get your 3%, be happy about that. Even if it goes up 50%, you executed your trade and your strategy, and that's a good thing. All right, so bullish divergence looks pretty good. We're going sideways though this morning. Actually, this alert kicked off right around noon. You might still be in that trade. So pretty good for bullish divergence on divergence indicator on supertrend. All 3 of these buys would have caught this big move, and then we don't really have another entry after that. So that one's kind of hard to judge. On our RSI, you get this trigger here, catch that big move, and that's really the only one in the last 3 days. So it looks like bullish divergence did pretty well on Acro as a spot trade. Okay, any questions on this setup? Okay, any questions on what I've talked about in the past 40, 45 minutes or so? You want to look at any other coins or more details about indicators, strategies? Very well. We're right at about 40 minutes. That's a pretty good place to stop. So if you're watching on the recording, I appreciate you doing that. Hope to see you live next time. Please check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. If you're a Carbon member, you'll need to exit this Zoom and join me again in about 15 minutes for the Carbon Zoom at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. The rest of you guys, have a good one. We'll see you in a few days. Bye.
Bye.